Welcome back to Guns Gear Network, everyone. Appreciate everyone tuning in this afternoon. Wanted to do this, it's not really a review. I wanted to show you some additions, modifications I did to my Gerber Strongarm. If you watched a video I did a couple videos ago, I did a whole video about camp tools, camp knives, all that stuff, and one of the things I talked about was the one knife wonder, the one knife that does it all. And this right here would be one of those knives I would classify as a potential in the lineup of knives that could potentially do multiple tasks. In my opinion, this is one of the more versatile knives. So if you're tuning in this video, you're probably already own a strong arm or you're potentially considering buying one. This is not a review because there's plenty of reviews about the strong arm already out there, and I typically don't review things that's been reviewed a lot on YouTube. But if I can show you some improvements and something like that, then I will bring that to you. There is a series that some really good YouTube reviewers did called the Gauntlet series, I believe they called it. Check that out because they put this thing through the ringer with about 4 or 5 different gear reviewers on YouTube, and they did an excellent job. So check that out. But in the meantime, I want to show you some improvements I made, because I think this knife is one of my more favorite knives that I have because of its versatility. It can do a lot of smaller camp chores. It can, baton. It can, split wood. It can chop. It's not a great chopper because of the weight and size, but it does okay. It can be a fighting style knife, so forth. So it can play a lot of roles, so it's one of my more favorite knives. The sheath on it is one of the better sheaths as far as from the factory that a knife would come with, but it had a few things that I didn't like about it, and it's been talked about in some other reviews, but I've made some improvements to kind of fix that. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I did to add to this knife and how I kind of made it my own, and I feel like that I've made a lot of improvements that I'd like to share with you guys. So if you look, I always add lanyards, and I usually use these little cord keeper here. These are adjustable, so you can adjust the tightness around something. I always have a leg loop here on the bottom, and then I always have a a lanyard up here that I can run my hand through if I need to. You can put your thumb through there. Some people talked about these guards not being big enough potentially where you could, if you're using a stabbing motion, where it could slip. Well, if I have this on, and especially if you just tighten it just a little bit, now it will not go past that. But it also helps and assist with like chopping. You can get it on your wrist, and the knife won't. You can really get loose and get in a chopping motion without it worrying about it coming out. So it has some versatility with the lanyard, and of course it has a lanyard loop. All right, so the sheath itself, they designed this sheath to be very modular, where you could attach it to MOLLE, attach it to your belt, attach it a lot of different ways. But one of the things, the complaints was, way this nylon portion attaches to the reinforced plastic portion. It's very loose. It flops around. So how I fixed that is I took a large Ranger band. If you're not familiar with Ranger bands, you can Google that or look on YouTube. It's nothing more than bicycle. This happens to be bicycle inner tube that I cut, and that's probably, and I hadn't measured, it's probably 2 inches wide, and I put over the portion where it attaches here. And that way it now is fairly stiff. It's still a little bit, but I'll show you that once the knife is in. It does not move around near as much, and it still allows me access to my attaching it to MOLLE and so forth. I added this band here. This is a second Ranger band. You do not have to have this because now it will not fit in the wider belts, like say a 2-inch belt. However, I can easily remove this one, much easier than this one, if I wanted to put it on, say, a 2-inch belt. To be honest with you, if you're carrying a lot of gear, one of my more favorite methods of carrying a knife is what I call a diving style carry, which is a lower leg carry. And what I do, the reason I put this band here is because I use one of these straps. You can buy these, these usually come with a good quality dive knife. You can also buy these separate or as a pair on eBay. Just look for a diving leg strap or something along those, knife leg strap, and you should be able to find these. So these are made of rubber. I've added a couple little grommets here. Those are just rubber grommets that I found at a hardware store to be able to secure this tag end. But the reason I added this up here was to tighten up the fit of this strap in a leg style carry. So now if I want to carry it in a lower leg style, I can, like a dive knife. So you can do that, but you don't have to have that. And if you don't like that style of carry, but if you carry a lot of gear on your waist, especially in a tactical application, it's kind of like drop leg holsters for pistols. They serve a purpose to get the pistol down below your plate carrier, and that's another reason I like a lower leg carry. It gets the knife out of the way of other gear, but it's still accessible when I need it. So I've added that, which tightened everything up, and I'll show you that here in a couple seconds with the knife in. I've also added this cord here. If you're familiar with this knife already, this thing comes with this little fork here to attach it to a molly pack. Well, once it's on the molly pack, sometimes it's hard to get to this thing to get it off if you want to remove it. So I use this to grab hold of, and I can simply pull it and get it past the point I need without having to try to fish it through back out of the molly once it's attached. So it's not necessary. You don't have to have that. I just use it. Anybody, you always can use extra 550 cord. So adding it is pretty simple. So the one other improvement that I did is, and it's not on here now, but I'm getting ready to show you, is one of these. Now, I don't know where you can buy these separate because these came on, I got a few of them here. These came on a Condor pistol belt. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I'm a pretty big advocate of Condor for the quality they bring for the price point. And they had it's like $10 or $12 including shipping normally for one of their pistol belts. And when you buy it, it comes with two of these. Obviously the same color, but I've got a couple different colors here. But they come on the belt itself already. So you're getting not only the belt, but you're getting two of these pouches. And they mount like this on the belt. So I don't need them on my belt. I use the belt for other things, running it through a battle belt or something like that. So I don't need these. So on the belt itself, but I found that these come in really handy to be able to attach to other things, such as a pack or something like that. They'll attach great on a shoulder strap of a pack, whatever, because of the nature of how these attach. And instead of having a traditional belt loop or something like that, they actually attach like that. So what I found is I always can attach them a lot of times to knife sheaths, and this right here is a good example of that. And to me, these are worth the $12 you spend on the belt, even if I threw the belt away, because, but I'll use the belt anyway. And I just simply Velcro this on to the sheath itself, like that. Now I've got this kangaroo style pouch on the front that allows me to put maybe a sharpening stone. It allows me to maybe put a fire steel in here, maybe a multi-tool, a little small mini survival kit. Whatever you wanted to put in here, you could. And this right here is just an example of, I've got a fire steel and a little diamond sharpening stone. And you can put that in there like that and put it together. So I love these little pouches, and I think this is a great addition. I wish Gerber would come out with something like this with their sheath when you get it. But they don't, so that's why I'm showing you this. You can look up the Condor, I think it's called a Condor pistol belt is kind of what they call it. What I'll do is I'll annotate, or I will put in the comments below where you can get the belt that comes with two of these already attached to it, and so forth. But let me show you this too. Because of this Ranger band, this knife has a little stronger positive click when you put it in because of the way this is putting a little pressure right here. But once you put this thing on and then snap that in, it doesn't really, the whole sheath doesn't move like it used to, this top portion. It's all in here really nice and snug now. It moves a little bit, but very little. Even with that undone, it doesn't really move around like it before. And if you've got one of these or seen some of the videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. This top portion really flops around without this Ranger band. And the good thing about Ranger bands, you can always use them for something else. You can use them for emergency fire starter in a pinch if you need it and so forth. So it's kind of serving two purposes. Obviously, I can use it for this, but if I need it for something else in the field, I could use it for that. But anyway, guys, with this setup this way, I think this is an excellent, excellent setup. I'll show you what the OD green would look like. I think it's a really good package when you put these together, all these little improvements I did. And again, I'm very rarely, occasionally I'll get a piece of kit or a piece of gear that I don't modify, but usually I try making it my own, just kind of the nature of what I'm used to doing. Very rarely that anybody would get a piece of kit that they didn't try modifying to either fit better, you know, serve a better purpose, whatever, and just kind of get creative, think outside the box, and make it your own. Don't be afraid to modify your gear and make additions or whatever you need to make it more comfortable and more user-friendly for you and your purposes. And I think you'll find that you'll find yourself buying more gear that you kind of said, it don't have this, or it doesn't do this, or whatever. There's usually ways to fix that, because if you decided, hey, I want the knife with the pouch, or you know, with the sheath and the pouch, you may turn down a good knife like the Strongarm simply because it didn't have a pouch, and you can add one. So think about that, guys, when you're looking at some of your gear. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, post those below. If you've got any experience with this knife or any modifications you did to the knife or to the sheath system or anything like that, be sure you share that with us. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. If you would, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be bringing you another video shortly. Have a great day, guys.